Good evening to one and all present here. Myself, M. Shaktivel, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science Engineering, Erode Engineering College. My favorite topic is to be present advanced C sharp. So now we seeing the prerequisites to this module assumes that you can understand the fundamentals of programming languages like variables, statement, functions, loops, etc. We just see object-oriented programming is a classes, inheritance, polymorphism, members, etc. C++ or Java and introduction to C sharp. Just learning objectives is the advanced features of C sharp language. You just create a custom types with interfaces, classes, and structures. You just assume advanced features of C sharp languages is to delegates and events. What is the delegate? Delegate is the class, public static return type, declaration method, and events. You just know the events is the main thing, but the event is to be delegated. Malicious topics is the vulnerable concept. You just see the agenda. What just you see? You just see the interfaces, classes and structures, delegates, events and attributes, preprocessed directives, HTML comments, unsaved code. Interfaces means interface is the concept to using the interface keyword. Classes is instance of an object and structure is used to struct keyword. Delegates is the predefined data to be occupied for the fundamental sectors. If the event is the if the event is the schedule to occupy the try catch throw for using the event scheduling of the mouse clicking event, something else here. See the attributes and XML for that the particular commands and the unstable directives. What is the key objective oriented concept is identity. You just identity as an element to unique identity regardless of this data. Object instance and classes. What is encapsulation? And the encapsulation is the third party authentication, and the third party authentication is the data and function are packed together to informing hiding, and an object is an abstraction. User does not have note the unnecessary implementation of the details. Just know the interfaces as a well-defined concepts and set of function members. A type of the data, yeah, an object has the type which specifies its interfaces and their implementation. This variable also can have a type. If you have the inheritance concept, you just knows the forms of inheritance, classical inheritance and the containment inheritance. The forms of inheritance comes the is a relationship, and the containment inheritance from the has a relationship. You just know that the three basic classes. What is the basic classes is base class, derived class, super class, subclass. What is the interface? Interface versus implementation and the inheritance. You just know the polymorphism concept. Polymorphism is the many data are to be ability to use the object without knowing it the precise type. The three main kinds of polymorphism is comes under inheritance, interface, late binding. If you dependence of that for reuse to facilitate development, systems should be loosely coupled. Loosely coupled, closely coupled, two coupled here. So if you use the loosely coupled, the dependencies should be minimized. If you seeing the interfaces, if you see the interfaces, and interfaces is that type, that method, the properties and its indexes and events. A class is a structure to implement the interface must support all parts of the constraint. If the interface provide no implementation, when the class as structure implement as the interface is must to be provide the implementation. If the interface to be provide the polymorphism means if the many classes are here, you already know many classes are here that inherit may implement a particular interface. If you see that example, public interface, I delete, void delete, public class, text box. If you specify the two columns, it inherit with the another class I delete. So public void delete. So this is a syntax. Just assume as a real-time example. If you see the car means if you moving for that particular data is car to create a new object. So the new object is a new car. Those are that the syntax are here. If you seeing the multiple inheritance concept, if you applying the multiple inheritance to concept for the interface means if the interface to be collaborated for the particular forum is to be void paint. The particular forum is void paint means the void set items, string items, if the I combo path. If you seeing the multifunctionary methods means plus method name to be a control for that particular exploit. If you two interfaces are here, the particular interfaces is to be occupied. What is the classes and structure similarities? Now we discuss about the classes and the function similarities. The both are user defined data. So the user defined data can be implemented in the multiple interfaces. So both can define a data. What is the data? Data is to be a field or a constraint or a content or a event or a array. It is known as data. What is the functions here? The function is the method or the property or the indexes or the operator or the constructor is the function. What is the type definition? The type definition is to be a class or a structure or a enum, enumerators or interfaces or delegates. So what is the data? Data is the field. Field used to be a constraint, constant, events or the arrays. The functions, the method type, method name, method variable, property type, getter, setter methods, and it's the what is the indexes? Indexes is the basics of the property class to be derived from that variable. Operator overloading concept. The operator, arithmetic operator, logical operator, relational operator, and operator, or operator. Some of the operators are here. So you can use the particular operator for that function. What is the constructor? Constructor is a method. Constructor is a method to be occupied for the default argument to specific constraints of the data. So constructor is to be a similar type for the constructor. So the type different functions, classes and its arguments. If you see what is the main difference between classes and structures, if you main difference between the classes and structures is the structure is the reference type equal to value data. So class is used to a reference type, so structure is used to a valid type. So you can inherit a data non-sealed reference type. If you structure means no inheritance, inherit from the system value. If you can have a destructor means if the structure has no destructor. If you can user defined parameter means if you have the structure is a no user defined parameter constructor. So what is the basic difference between C++ structures versus C++ structure? The C++ structure is the public member. The C sharp structure is a user defined member. The can be allocated on a heap on stack as a member can be used as a value reference. Just allows allocated on the stack or as a member. Just assume member are always a public. You just declare that members can be public or internal private to the C sharp structure. So if you see that main difference between classes and object, you just create a class with the main class is a vehicle, the subordinate class is a car. So if you assume car is the main class, the exists to the inheritance vehicle class, though enum, make, GM, Honda likes the cars variables. So cause different names, make to string, point, location. What is the location here? You just make first use this pointer variable, this make equal to m declaration void declaration local variable declaration public void main. It just the public void as they consume to write line is the b room. So you just create an object car c new car equal to car make pmw new point. It's the output comes means you just assume this one is the structure class, structure point x y, the pointer int x comma y. So you just assume x as the 10 means you just assume y as a 12 means the assume the variable get set method. So get is the read method, set is the write method. So get return x to write a value x equal to value. So read the value of the y. So y comes the value of value. So what is the basics in static versus instant member mean? Just by default members on the pre-instant, each instance should as the own field. If you trying to the method to apply for the specific instant, you just static member or per type. So static member cannot access the instant of the data. So no, this variables is the instant of the data on the method. No does not abuse the static members or the essentially object oriented global data. The particular global data comes under the global function. So what is the access specifier? You just know the access specifier is the three of the functions: public, protected, and void. What is the public? Public is used for anyone can access but the particular data. If you have the protected means the some of the third party authentication cannot protected the multiple functions for the encapsulations data. What is the private data? The private sectors can occupy that particular data. The data is the private sectors. If you knowing the access specifier means if the access specifier is the model to the public to everyone can view the data. In private means the particular T only occupied the data. If you protected means T types are derived from the capital T data. If you internal means with a assembly sector is to be internal mode. The protected means two types are derived from the two types within a sector. If you see abstract class, what is the abstract class? Abstract is knowing and similar is one that cannot be instructed. Inducted to be used as a base class. If you know many contains of data, abstract and non-abstract function members, it is similar to an interface. Cannot be sealed data. That class is known as abstract class. What is a sealed class? The sealed class is one that cannot be used as a base class. So sealed class cannot be abstract. All structures are implementally sealed. Why seal a big class? To prevent uninducted derivation, code optimization of the compile time data. What is the use of this keyword? This keyword is the predefined variable available in the non-static function members. So non-static function members used to access a particular scenario. The particular scenario is used to access a data, functions and members and assembly. Class person is the name. Class person is the class. String name. This name equal to refers for that main name. So p pointer is equal to this. So the console dot write line, hi, I am plus your name. So what is the base class? The base keyword is used to a hidden data. That hidden data is similarly name of the class shape, the return type, and the another one of the type to use of the particular scenario. So just see the constant math.py. You just operate as a math operator to be error from the similarity compiled debating. What is the field? The main field comes under a member is a variable. Hold the data for the class or structure. Can you hold a class is the instant of a reference. A structure is the instant of the actual data. So array class or structure instant actually gives the reference. Just see read only field is similar concept is the runtime declaration or in the constructor. Once the initialization comes, it cannot be modified. Differ from the construct initialized at the runtime versus the compile time. Don't have recompile client to that main class. If you see class structure properties, the property is a virtual field within can be read only, write only, or read and write only access given. So you just get a method means you just write a data or read a data. If you setter method means you just write only access, but you just occupy the particular part. If the indexes means you just instant of big virtual array can be overloaded because the operator overloading cannot be overloaded for the particular scenario. You just see a public class list box control private string the items publics and the return types items the values to be read. If you see the method is a constructor, destructor, operator, special type of function. Properties getter, setter, method. Methods have the argument list. Method contains statement. Method can return a value only if return is not void. The method argument passing by default data is to be passed by the value. A copy of data is to be created and passed to the method. If the data is to be modified from the method call, if the reference type is to be instant, can be modified for the method call. Yet method call comes under the variable itself cannot be modified by a method call. If the reference modifier can be accessed, the reference means the allows a method call to be modified where you have to use the reference method, reference modifier, modifying the method to be code that calls it the reference function. If you declare int x equal to 10 means if the reference function x is now as 11. Once the increment operator comes means the value of 10 is to be increment by once. So just see out modifier. What's the out modifier? Paused out the reference allows the method call to be initialize a variable. Initialize a variable have to use out modifier in a method definition and the code that call its void out function p equal to 22. You just assume p equal to 22 out axis your output is 22. You just seeing the overloaded method means you just unique representation of the data, only return the ignored data, error, duplicate signatures to be occurred. The parameter arrays is the params is the keyword of the declaration. You just declare must to be a last argument int sum equal to 0. So int array. So I sum plus equal to I. So return sum. So some value is 13, 87, 34. You the sum you just occupy particular value to be returned. Just see the virtual method. Virtual method is the method can be virtual or non-virtual default constructor. If you do something means the foo if new foo if do something. You just define as the base class, derived class, and abstract method in the forum to be a virtual. If you see class shape is an example for real-time example. Box is the main class shape is the main class, but box is the derived class. The shape to be occupied sphere to s draw handle this or something. The abstract method belongs to the abstract to implement derived classes. Just see that examples of the class to write a code abstract class type public abstract void draw. You just assume box is the main class, the shape is the instanted class. You just occupied the to handle new box is the creation of the error. The method versioning override method using the new keywords for specifying the instant. Avoid the accidental overriding method or the non-virtual by the default. The C++ and the Java product Fraggle based classes cannot be specified for the in. If you see class base version 1, that the base classes is to be occupied. If you see derived class base version 1, you just assume void foo. If you right line derived foo, if you assume version is the console base foo, if you derive the assume as the version 1. If you derive a right line, so base 1. So if you classes and structures constructed can be overloaded. If your constructor can be overloaded, the class or structure initiated, all the field insides to be 0 or null pointers. If you see this or base keyword using this constructor classes, if you see the static constructor is the constructor to create installation of the code for one class. No other guarantees an execution order. Only one static constructor per type must be parameterless. If you see the destructor is to be debooked. If your destructor is the using statement or ID is responsible, user defined operator must be a static method. You just assume operator overloading. You just see the operator overloading in the main concept. Just know the what is meant by overloading. Overloading is the dumping of the data to be exist from the failure steps. Overloadable urinary operator. Urinary operator is a single operator to use a multiple function plus, minus, exclamatory is something else. Plus is a true operator, minus is a false operator, exclamatory is the increment operator, the still simple is the decrement operator. If you overloadable for the binary operator, but the particular oval things of the symbols will be occupied. If you see the operator overloading, so if you see the operator overloading is the method to be occupied size of new type of checked this of the errors to be comes. If you using the address of another variable, the operator are automatically evaluated from the and I to be operator. The operator overloading is this is the main example of the program. The conversion operator implementing interfaces are to be implement the particular scenario. The class or the structure to be implemented interface must be all functions and the members defined in that a particular forum in the scenarios. If the interface is the delete method, you just use the particular forum, explicit the interface function. Just assume declare with the scope with the another class. If you nested type can be three defined data and nested hidden types. News hidden keyword is the Java inner classes and something. Just see is operator. Is operator is used to dynamically runtime operator. If you see the is operator is to comes under is a relationship or the is operator from the polymorphic method to hierarchy with that. So as operator comes with the conversible to the file. Result is to be none. So type operator is the system type to be specified from the particular forum to write line to dynamically to obtain the information from that. And just see that delegate. The delegates the reference type. That reference type is essentially operator function. Methods can be static or non-static. If your method can return a value, the provide a polymorphism for inheritable functions, foundation of the event handling. The see that main forum declare instant invoke something the syntax are here. Multicast delicts is just delicate can hold and invoke the super method. The super method are invoked sequentially in that order to be added for the operator thread say. Just see the multicast delicate for the example program. You just see the multiple method and the inheritance are the most powerful interfaces, and the delegates are more intelligent even handlers less code can easily implement multiple event and handlers on the class and the structures. Just see events. What is the events? The events handling is the style of program where one object notify another something in instant can be applied. For the event foreign can callback mechanism to functionally independently care a component. If they see the time basis event asynchronous operation completed, the email message has arrived, web design has been debugged. The overview of events, C# has a negative support for the events based upon delegates. The plus or minus or invoke the delegate from the same. The C component slide is the base. So user side is the basic event. So it just attributes. What's the main attributes here? You just see the attribute to the association information metadata with the types and the member. You just occupy that URL to transaction method and XML to the product ID with the parameters. And just URL is something else. Just public void some old method exit from the new method to string to be tested. So you just see the overview of the data, the modifying the source language and attributes and audios are extendable. The attributes are extendable, not limited to the predefined function, is stored in the assembly. The main difference between attribute name and the description and attributes overviews, type saves, argument check at the compile time used in the .NET framework for something. You simply use the inherit from the system dot architecture. You just assume that particular scenario. You just assume pre-processed directive. What are the pre-processed directives are here? Just assume C# provide preprocessor directives that serve a number of functions. Unlike C++, there is no separate preprocessor. The preprocessor name is preserved only for considering the C++. The C++ preprocessor functions remote include not really needed with the non-stop programming removal result in the faster completion of the data. Macro versions that define remove from the clarity. You assume define and define directive. Define and return the conditional system. You just this one is the conditionally skip. Error warning is issue error warning. Region end is the delimit. So line is to specify then you just see that particular forums. The acceleration is the way to improve the quality of the code to writing solid data. Next, XML command. You enter into the XML commands. You just basics of PHP and MySQL to write the XML commands to the denoted with the triple slash is the XML commands to generated while the code is limited with the doc argument. The XML schema comes predefined. You can add the own tags too. Some are verified parameters, exceptions, types, something else. Just assume XML tag description. Summary means type or a members. Remarks means type or a members. Parameter method parameter. Returns method return value. Exceptions means exception thrown from the method. Example sample code. C cross reference values the property. Reference is use of the parameter. List items the format int. Just assume permission required. Just see the example. Just see next one unsaved code. Just see the that unsaved code preference extremes dealing with the unary functions and the binary functions, something else. You just see a particular forum of the data dealing with existing binary structure. You just develop the particular constraint of the forum. So you just, first of all, you just see particular forum, you just see a particular data used to be occupied from the several methods. The several methods used to be so just see a performance extreme dealing with existing binary structures, existing code, just something else here. Advanced compute support and DDL import. The C# allows to mark a code as unsafe, allowing permissions from the pointer types, pointer arithmetic, and the operator unsaved cast, no garbage collection. If you see the performance extreme means that dealing with the operator from the binary structures and to be exiting code. So advanced computer support and radial support to the operator. The operator comes in the arithmetic operator, logical operator, conditional operator, something is to clear. If you see the unsaved comments mean no garbage collection comes in. If you see unsaved code means to be overloaded to lets you emphasize negative comments. C++ code, basically you just see the inline C. You just see that does not move your data. The data is to be pinned successfully fixed for the particular data. If you see the stack allocation means the particular stack to be allocated from the particular memory. If you push down automata, push down stack will put particular scenario for A, B, C, something stacks are here means the particular scenario is to be stacked one by one. Using this particular memory is to be allocated from a need not to be. if you see if you see the file stream, the stream and the int handle and public unsafe in read byte buffer. If you see the index, if you count int equal to 0, fixed read file import kernel 132 buffer. The buffer streams comes under the overlapped particular forums and scenario. If you see unsaved code, C sharp on the pointers. Power comes at a price. Unsafe means unverifiable code. The structure is to be security information before the code can be run. Downloading the code. If the code to be run, power comes to be unsafe. And unsafeable means if you unverifiable code, the structure security requirement before the code to be run and downloading the code. Just see that reference. Thank you.